Alright, guys. Now, I'm one of these people out here who do stories about marijuana on the internet. Marijuana news stories, basically. There's a few people out there that do this stuff. And it seems like one of the things we've been tasked with is to combat the Reefer Madness. And I mean, it's not because there's so much of it out there. It's just overwhelming the mainstream media. It's that they ain't trying to combat it at all. They don't do any stories about medical marijuana. In fact, the only time they do any stories about marijuana is when somebody gets busted or a law changes. And when somebody gets busted, the only time they do those stories is when it's some kind of a sensational number or something, so the police can get their photo ops in. We've seen the 2016 elections, and the Reefer Madness was just off the charts. I mean, come on. The Reefer Madness there was just unbearable. And the reason it was unbearable is because it's all false. It's all fake. There's no scientific evidence to back any of it up. Now, I was online looking around, and because I run a weed channel, I guess, and I talk about medical marijuana a lot, and my recommendations, a little thing over there on the right when you have a video open, recommended me a video called Medical Marijuana No. Now I'm gonna be working on my screen here a little bit, right there. We'll open you back up anyway. Anyway, over here in Medical Marijuana No, this is the video description. It's kind of weird. Now this channel, Rebecca Barnowski. To the best of my knowledge, this is the only video that this channel's ever had. This is the only video that's on there now. There wasn't any more videos when I just seen this earlier today, and I went there and I looked, and this is what I got. We got Medical Marijuana No, and then we have this, created using Powtoon. And it's basically just Powtoon's advertisement banner. And the thing about it is, the weird part is it almost has a robotic feel to the video, and maybe she made this thing in Powtoon, and didn't intend on publishing it on Facebook. Maybe just a slight, slim smidgen of a chance. She could have made it private. She could have just posted it somewhere else where she saved it if she really didn't want the public to see it. But now it's in the public eye. The public has the ability to watch this video. Does the public need this video? Does the public need an argument against medical marijuana? Isn't there enough arguments out there already because of the people that are, the pharmaceutical industry? Let's face it, they're getting their asses handed to them because of medical marijuana. People are quitting their opiates left and right every day. Thousands of people are quitting these opiates. They've been wanting to quit them opiates for a long time. They've been looking for a way out. And medical marijuana is that way out. So, we got this. We've seen this. And now, what else do we got here? We got the video itself. Medical Marijuana No. Again, created by using Powtoon. And again, this is it. This YouTube channel looks like it might have even been created by the program, because I don't even know. I mean, it's really generic. There's no other YouTube things, unless, of course, you can choose to not show people. I think I have it so you can't see my subscriptions or liked videos, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I just don't want to bombard people with extra information on my YouTube front page or whatever. But what we have here is it just kind of looks generic to the point where maybe it wasn't even her that made it. I'm giving her all the benefits of the doubts here. And now we're just going to get right into it, guys. This is this video, and it's called Medical Marijuana No, and we're just going to go right off the bat.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Barnowski.
I don't know what this is going to sound like.
My name is Rebecca Barnowski, and
at this point, so that you don't hear this, and then when we play it back, you will hear it. Sorry about that. I planned on doing this in the first place. Might even edit this out. I don't know. I'm not a big editor. I usually cut the beginning and the end off, and then start this over.
My name is Rebecca Barnowski, and I'm here to discuss medical marijuana. Marijuana is a psychoactive drug used to alter perception of thoughts, actions, and even pain. Marijuana is also categorized as a substance with high potential for abuse and dependence.
All right, well, here we go. High potential for abuse and dependence. When we look at recreational drugs, because that's what she's talking about, is when they have the statistics out about the potential for abuse and dependence, they're talking about street drugs, right? When I see the chart, they do have prescription drugs on there, but they're always just all bunched into one category. Now these charts that she's looking at are old charts from questionable sources. So when you look at the charts and when you see the ones that I have, the ones that I have is the most common one. And let me see, I can pull that up. No, can I? Yeah, here we go. So here's your chart. You got nicotine, which is, and then over here you have what you got: intoxication, reinforcement, tolerance, withdrawal, dependence. All the things that you would look at when you're looking at a drug to see if it's something that might be, I don't know, dangerous or whatever. Nicotine, high dependence, low intoxication. All right. Heroin and cocaine, high everything. Alcohol, high on the withdrawal, low on the dependence, and high on the intoxication, the highest. I mean, they should have, like, this chart should extend. This 1 through 6 is a really weird lowball, but this is what you get when you're dealing with the New York Times and drugwarfacts.org. Drugwarfacts.org, I'm not going to discount them too much, but I guarantee you that the New York Times put this together to make it really simple to understand. Marijuana on the dependence, withdrawal, and tolerance are a 1 out of a potential 6. I would argue that they're lower than that, especially the dependence and the withdrawal. Now the tolerance, there's a reason why tolerance is a thing, and it's not a bad thing. Tolerance is a good thing. Tolerance makes it so that if you need to take more of a medicine to actually cure something, you can do that, you know. So I just don't know where she's coming up with. I know where she's doing. She's looking at old statistics. These studies were done by government agencies like the National Institute on Health or the National Institute on Drug Abuse and others that just want to, they just want to scare people. They just want to freak you out. All right, what else?
So, what is medicine considered? Medicine is a compound or preparation used for the treatment or prevention of a disease, especially a drug or drugs taken by the mouth.
All right, so here you have Big Pharma. Once again, Big Pharma's propaganda talking point, defining what medicine is. And they always leave out anything that can make marijuana sound like it's medicine. And I'm surprised she didn't say something about smoking and how that's not medicine, because that's been a really big talking point in the last 5 years. Well, anyway, she's talking about what she's defining isn't medicine necessarily. What she's defining is just a synthetic compound. That's it. And why does it have to be a compound or a preparation? Doesn't really seem like it matters. I mean, you could say that one thing like an aspirin, I don't know if that's a compound. It's a preparation. There's things that are standalone that you could call medicine. I know there is. So I don't know why you got to have a preparation or a compound. But by the way, cannabis is a compound consisting of at least 85 cannabinoids, 2 of which, THC and CBD, have been proven to treat, cure, and prevent many diseases, not just one.
Medical marijuana can be deemed a medicine in one way only. It holds 2 chemicals, tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, which produces the high, and cannabinol, or CBD, which silences electrical and chemical activity in the brain, allowing for the relaxation.
Wow, that's very short, very simple, misleading, and not even accurate. If you want to educate yourself on what THC and CBD can treat and does treat, there's a wealth of information about this. You can just, I'm sorry, I should have been more ready. Just do that. And do this. Wow, look at that. Here's all the things that they do. These are other cannabinoids and just their basic definition. Here's more. Look at that. Wow. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because this kind of turns what she's saying on its head. This is really a lot of stuff. So very short definitions, very simple-minded. You got your THC and your CBD. It's basically what she's saying. Nothing there, man.
Relaxation, says Dr. Sanjay Gupta. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, early exposure to cannabinoids in adolescence decreases the reactivity of brain dopamine reward centers later in adulthood.
So this book she's
dopamine is a neurotransmitter that induces pleasure and happiness.
I wish she would have provided some references to this said piece of literature. But what she's showing here is a normal dopamine, a normal transition of dopamine. All right, you get the dopamine. It does something to you, and then after the dopamine starts to break down, it does something different to you. Now, this model where you go from happy to depressed is not cannabis. That is stuff that gives you massive ejections of dopamine, something like methamphetamine or, I don't know, anything that gives you a massive injection of dopamine, and this cannot happen with THC. At the very worst, you're going to have awake and sleepy. Depressed is not the right word there. I don't know who this book is she got this from. But anyway, so there's tests. There is tests, and they were done with lab animals, and they are not peer-reviewed tests. These are not scientific studies that she's talking about. And the National Institute on Drug Abuse obviously has a reason to come to these kind of conclusions. Depression is, to say that the scientific studies would take you to depression, that's the exact opposite. No conclusive scientific studies in humans have ever suggested a link between cannabis use and actually any kind of mental disability, especially depression, because it just simply hasn't. There hasn't been case studies done ever. Several real studies between 2014 and today actually prove that the exact opposite is true. So instead of saying that it causes depression because of this model, it actually is being used now to treat depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, autism, postpartum syndrome, and many, many other chemical imbalances and neurological disorders that cause mental problems. So a lot of the times, your mental problems aren't just a chemical imbalance, but they're actual neurological disorders. And instead of cannabis just relieving the symptoms of it, people are finding out that it cures the depression or the anxiety or the PTSD or whatever else you got. We're talking about real evidence, whether it be anecdotal or you can see it in a lab. This thing that she's talking about with you use some marijuana and the dopamine goes from happy to depressed, there's no science on that one. There's no science.
In his book titled Marijuana, Tardis states, marijuana users have more suicidal thoughts and are 4 times more likely to report symptoms of depression. Marijuana is also known as the gateway drug. People who are addicted to marijuana are 3 times more likely to be addicted to heroin, continues the National...
By the way, in fact, today, even the National Institute on Drug Abuse are pretty much leaning more on the side of not a gateway because they don't have any proof that it's a gateway. The FDA, the FBI, and the DEA have all come out and said that they don't believe marijuana is a gateway drug. In their papers, they've written papers that say this. All right, that's the federal government. The National Institute on Drug Abuse has an agenda, and this is part of their agenda. This person that made this video works for the pharmaceutical industry, or I think something about a radiologist or something, if I'm not mistaken, or studying to be a radiologist. Whatever the case may be, making this video didn't help your cause. Makes you look stupid, because you just said 3 times more. You're 3 times more likely to consume harder drugs such as heroin just because you used marijuana before. What else?
Institute on Drug Abuse. After the use of marijuana, 89% of users turned to heroin as a source of new drugs, says Capriati.
89% of the marijuana users went right on to heroin. Whoa. Now you see how much bullshit this is. I mean, I was just going to let this video go, you know, like, oh, what's this? Some kid made a video about medical marijuana for their high school fucking, you know, social studies class or something, maybe. I don't know. And I get to this part and I'm just like, no, you can't let this fucking stand. Hey, Rebecca, what in the fuck is this? 89% of marijuana users go on to use heroin? How come I'm not fucking seeing the evidence of that out on the street? Huh? That's just absurd. You know, when it comes to the gateway theory, the NIDA's most recent comment is that the jury is still out. 3 times more likely to consume heroin is complete correlation. What you're saying is that you had some heroin addicts, and you got them in a room because they wanted some methadone or something, and you sat them in front of a piece of paper with some fucking questions on it. One of the questions were, did you use marijuana before you used heroin? Well, if you checked yes on I used marijuana, and of course it was before the heroin. No one jumped right into heroin from nothing. So 89% of the people that use heroin started or tried or fucked with marijuana once. Big deal. Why don't you look at the marijuana users? That's the one where you just said that they all went on to use heroin. 3 times more likely to consume harder drugs. 89% of them went right on to using heroin. It's fucking absurd, man. You need to take this video down. This is worse. This is the worst propaganda I've seen all in the last year. Straightforward. I'm not even faking, man. All right, what else?
Marijuana use isn't only seen in teens, but also in young adults and sexually active adults.
Here. I forgot something. You got this gateway theory, and I've said it in other videos, and I'll say it one more time. Hey, Rebecca, I know you work for some kind of a pharmaceutical industry thing, or the health industry, radiologist or something. You look at X-rays, whatever. You study for your future is what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. You're not making videos that make any sense. Now, there is no correlation between people that use marijuana and people that use heroin. There's none. The correlation is if you ask somebody that uses heroin, yeah, they might have fucking had breast milk too when they were a baby. Who knows? They might have been given formula. Maybe they started eating Skittles when they were 4. And then they went on to harder things like Cinnabons or something. Well, you know what happens, though? The only correlation out there is the correlation between opiates and heroin. When you start at the doctor's office with your Vicodin or your hydrocodone, and then you go down the road a little farther, and then you're on your Oxycontin, and then you move on up to morphine and fentanyl. At one point, you're going to run out of money. You're going to hit the end of the road, and you're going to be like so many other people who run into heroin. And oh, guess what? It's a lot cheaper than Oxycontin. So, boom. There's your fucking gateway theory. So please keep marijuana out of it. It's not in it. Marijuana has nothing to do with the gateway theory. You take marijuana for pain, you don't have to worry about going to the next thing because it works. It doesn't just make you addicted to it. Like when you're talking about addiction like you did earlier, you forgot to mention that all these prescription drugs that they give you for pain are addictive, highly addictive. And they don't work. They only work when you're not sick from the addiction. And that is the worst kind of risk factor there is. So I'm telling you, you don't want to risk even getting prescribed Vicodin if you fucking stub your toe. You could be going down the long road of prescription drugs until you get to the point where, yeah, you too will be on heroin. It's way more correlation there than anybody could ever draw between marijuana and heroin. Cut it out. All right, let's go.
In her article, Lactation and the Substance-Exposed Mother-Infant Dyad, Lauren Jansen explains that marijuana dependency is a particular concern as
adults that are sexually active. What's that got to do with it? Whether you're sexually active or not? Oh, you're affected by marijuana?
Lauren Jansen explains that marijuana dependency is a particular concern as numbers and costs associated with neonatal abstinence syndrome, or NAS, due to maternal marijuana use have tripled in the last decade.
Neonatal abstinence syndrome has ever been connected to just marijuana use. Just like dying of anything, or this ain't actually dying. This is when the baby comes out fiending for the fucking drugs that the mother was addicted to. That's benzodiazepines, that's opiates, that's cocaine, that's methamphetamine, that's not marijuana. It's not marijuana. Hey, Rebecca, hey, you're wrong. Whoever this Jensen lady is, she's full of shit too. With this statement that she just put there, marijuana dependency, scratch that. Put addictive drug dependency, not marijuana. Why in the fuck did you put marijuana there? Due to maternal marijuana use? No. If you're just quoting what she said, then you should just do your research a little, because there's no fucking cases of marijuana causing NAS. Period. You can't show me one. It wouldn't be caused by marijuana alone.
That means 3 times the babies born to mothers using marijuana suffer the withdrawal symptoms of that same marijuana once they're born.
Meth,
Some
coke,
of those symptoms include restlessness,
meth, coke, heroin,
extreme weight loss,
those. Meth, coke, opiates,
stomach pain,
opioids, all of those. Meth,
weakness,
heroin, opioids, opiates,
shakiness, and even frequent headaches.
Tobacco, caffeine. How about that? Didn't think about that.
Louise Kaplan confirms that marijuana is now legal in 23
states.
of our 50
right
states in the United States for
This
medical.
video was just put out 2 days ago. So why is there only 23 states on there? What about DC? What about the other 5 states? Oh, don't worry about them, because I'm getting this from a book that was written at least a year ago. Whatever your book is, it's full of just misinformation. One point after another. I don't even know where you get this or where they got it from. The National Institute on Drug Abuse is completely a propaganda mill for the pharmaceutical industry. We all know this. We all wonder what they said about opioids and opiates. Let's go ask them, because they don't tell you enough. And meanwhile, they nod their head yes when the pharmaceutical industry says, "Hey, can we prescribe Oxycontin to 11-year-old kids?" Sure. The National Institute on Drug Abuse says that's okay. So I don't know where the fuck you get this information from, or who the lady that wrote that book gets it from, but everything you're saying in this video is total fucking propaganda, 100%. And if you can't take the adult language, then don't get on fucking YouTube posting bullshit videos like this. And I really highly recommend just take this shit down. You're going to get so many negative comments about this video. People are going to fucking roast this video so hard. It's going to hurt eventually. You're going to get comments on there. It's going to make this, what I'm saying, I'm being nice. I'm being very nice to you. So there you go.
Purposes. Some of those states include California, Arizona, Virginia, New York, and Nevada. Those states are the highest in potential for the desire of teens to reside there. In
wow,
Nevada, now that medical marijuana is legal, it costs only $150 to be considered
shit.
for a medical marijuana card,
I could go
making
to a
it one of the
doctor
easiest
for 50,
consultations in a doctor's
get
office.
a script written for $5, and then go fill it for $75, and for about $130, I can have a bottle full of pills that can kill me and get me high as fuck for about a week straight. So what are you talking about? It's $150. You shouldn't charge patients $150 just to see some special doctor because you think marijuana is something that isn't medicine. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter anymore. All right. When a state says marijuana is medicine, your opinion's out the door when you say it ain't. So when you're saying, oh my God, you shouldn't charge such a low fee for someone to go see a marijuana doctor, what are you talking about? You don't got to pay shit. Once you get your doctor, you don't got to pay much because you got insurance, right? They'll pay for just about everything. You'll pay for most of your doctor's visit, got good insurance, so take care of your copay and take care of your prescription fee. They'll even fucking take care of the fill-in fee and get generics. They might even pay for the whole thing.
So what's so amazing about medical marijuana? Is it the dependence?
Nope. Here she goes again with her bullet points. These bullet points are just straight garbage. Marijuana dependence, there's no real thing to say about that, except for that if you have to quit for some reason, you shouldn't have that much of a problem, because physically it's not as dependent as, say, caffeine.
Depression?
Yeah, that's what's so good about it, is it cures fucking depression. It cured mine.
The withdrawal symptoms.
You don't have withdrawal symptoms from marijuana. If you do, it's really acute, and it's really not that big of a deal. I've done it before. I've had to quit. I joined the Army once. Had to quit. Was it hard? No. Was quitting cigarettes hard? Fuck yeah. That was all I could think about.
What does it take to ruin a life or a future?
Opiate addiction.
The consumption of any form of
prescribing
medical
11-year-old
marijuana.
kids opiates.
Say no.
Prescribing little kids 5 years old with autism, prescribing them shit like opiates and benzodiazepines and Adderall. That can ruin your life. Cancer treatment that can kill you. I don't know. Just say no. And like that, we're back to the POW tune. Alright guys, I don't know why I spent so much time on this. Hopefully this really ain't as long as it says it is, but I'm not going to spend any more time on it, and I just want to tell Rebecca that this is what you're doing here is a terrible, terrible endeavor that you're embarked on here. This propaganda, this reefer madness. You're trying to scare people about medical marijuana, the safest medicine known to man. Nothing safer for pain, nothing safer for depression, nothing is safer for cancer, Alzheimer's prevention. The list is big. ALS, all right? You have no proof for anything you said in this video except for National Institute on Drug Abuse propaganda. Take this fucking garbage off the internet, please.